everybody. I hope you're all doing well today. I can see that you're all becoming quite philosophically minded and critically minded and more aware that the student of philosophy is expected to dig more deeply, to analyze more clearly, to search for the real rather than the apparent and the superficial, but to do so in realms where rational investigation rather than speculation is the proper method of inquiry. Instead of thinking of philosophy as a subject or a set of problems to be solved, it would be more appropriate to think of it as an activity, a critical activity of the mind. There's nothing new about the idea of philosophy as activity. Some 200 years ago or so, one of my favorite philosophers, Immanuel Kant, told his students, quote, "You will not learn from me philosophy, not thoughts to repeat, but rather how to think. Think for yourselves, inquire for yourselves, stand on your own feet." The stating of one's problems clearly and of examining various proposed solutions critically may take a certain amount of time, maybe even a great deal of time, patience and perseverance. But if the seeker after truth is only interested in answers that are right or wrong, if he or she wants conclusive certainty, then he must go elsewhere, to the study of pure mathematics, for example. And if this is done, there will be a shutting of the door that leads to the world of "I don't know," "one can't tell," "it's a matter of opinion." And this would be a pity, I think, for it is the world in which we all live. So many of us close that door. I'd like to share with you some thoughts I have on creativity in a critical thinking, creativity in the entire methodology of philosophy. I believe that creativity is an important element to consider in the process of philosophizing. In the following, I'm going to provide some steps to achieving creative illumination that should prove helpful in many situations, from the daily small problem-solving demands of our lives to the big, existentially deep demands of a lifetime. But first a quote, "Creative persons are committed to risk," says Benny Golson, a jazz musician and composer. "The creative person always walks 2 steps into the darkness. Everybody can see what is in the light. They can underscore it. Hey, they can modify it, and they can reshape it. But the real heroes delve into the darkness of the unknown. It is where you discover other things. I say other things because when the new things are discovered, they have no name. And they sometimes defy description, like a newborn babe. He has no name. She defies description. She's wrinkled. He looks like his grandfather, but he's only 1 day old. He looks like his mother, but he also looks like his father. But after a while, he's beautiful. She's beautiful. And she has a name. And many times that's the way our ideas are, the ones we create from darkness. Darkness is important, and the risk that goes along with it is important. The first step in achieving that illumination, that flash of inspiration when a problem is finally solved, is preparation. A person must immerse herself in the problem and then uncover information that is relevant to it. At this point, imaginative thinking is as important as critical thinking. The mind must be loosened, set free to roam imaginatively, perhaps even wildly, so that unusual and even unlikely data are free to appear. But this, of course, is much easier said than done, because many of us suffer from what is humorously called psychosclerosis. In other words, the hardening of the attitudes. Self-censorship is also a problem to imaginative thinking. I can't say this, they'll think I'm crazy. Of course this will never work. Nobody thinks this way, etc., etc. Preparation often produces frustration, which arises when the rational, discursive, logical, and analytical mind reaches the limits of its ability, whether inherent or learned. At this point, the rational mind must surrender to this frustration and give over to give the problem over to intuition. The second stage is to let the problem percolate, to let it simmer, to let it incubate in the unconscious. The unconscious mind is far better suited to creative insight than the conscious mind. All memory is unconscious before it is conscious, and only about 1% of what the mind takes in ever reaches consciousness. The unconscious mind has far more data to draw from. What the unconscious mind knows is felt as a hunch, a feeling of correctness, a feeling of eureka. This is it, the eureka feeling. Daydreams are important at this step. Dare to dream, as are relaxing, quiet walks, long drives, meditation, being alone in a room of one's own. And as most of us know, in this incredibly hectic world of our daily lives, daydreaming is considered by many to be an unhealthy, let alone unproductive anomaly of behavior. With a little luck, however, I don't know how else to put it, luck being the word of last resort, participation in the problem through intentional, rational immersion, frustration, giving up the problem to the unconscious, intuition with a little help from daydreaming, and its counterparts, illumination may occur in the aforementioned eureka. The final stage is translating your eureka moment into statements, arguments that can be broadly understood. Critically translating your newly discovered idea into the reality of the language of action makes your idea useful to yourself and others. The art of constructing arguments is helpful in bringing your creative ideas to the attention of others, and that's what we'll be doing in this course. Over the course of one's life, the act of creation is a very long series of acts with multiple and sundry rational preparations, frustrations, unconscious percolations, incubations, and different, unusual, and unique critical translations into the language of the public arena. Now, here's a thought to meditate upon. I'll leave you with this. We are the genius of ourselves.